Hello everyone, I'm Kaylee and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be going over a speed build of my residence building. It's kind of a long build and it definitely took a long time, didn't exactly turn out how I wanted it, but in the end it turns out okay and I personally kind of like it, so let's just get into it. So to start, I just get rid of the rock and then I start making a river. So my idea for this one was kind of to have my house like surrounded by water, where I'd kind of have to like jump to my house, which is kind of annoying, but I just like the idea of being surrounded by water. I thought that would be kind of cool. So I just went ahead and I carved out some water coming from the waterfall by one of my villager neighborhoods. I think this is one of the areas that I don't really change too much. I kind of keep like a little island and made this into a pond. It's more when we get into like going into like where my actual house is that it turns into kind of a little bit of a mess. But as I said, it kind of works out in the end, so. So once I created like this little island with a tree, I move over to the other side where my other villager neighborhood is for my wolf villagers, and I start doing the same thing of pulling out the water that I did on the other side. I mean, Audie is kind of in the way, but she can stay. She's fine. She's a queen. I'll just maneuver around her later. And now Renee has joined her. So then I went and I started carving out some more water that I thought I would have around my house. It kind of stays, so that's nice at least. But as I said, I kind of wanted to be able to like jump to my house and just be completely surrounded by water. So then I go over to a river mouth and start carving out a river because I don't have my river set up yet. So I decided just to include them in this build. When I start my new island, I definitely won't be picking this map because those water mouths, both being where they are, has been really annoying and trying to plan out where I want my rivers to go. Because like every idea that I have for a build, they just run right into everything that I want. So it's like I wish that I had one like off to the side of my map instead of both of them being there, and the airport is at the bottom too. It's just kind of a hassle. But I'm finally getting a river going, which is nice. And in hindsight, I should have cleared the trees and the rocks before even starting, because I knew about how I wanted my river to look, but for some reason I decided I simply wasn't going to do that. I was going to make my life harder on this one. And so then the river is going to connect over to where about like my front door is. And I'm just kind of going to make it work from there. Which I know the river stays the same at the end of this, and so does it connecting up towards where my house is. But I just carved out like one little line, so I have a basic outline for how I want my river to start from the river mouth, and then where it's going to end by my house. So I didn't want to like tear down all of my trees, And I had a plan for where I was going to put the other river. It doesn't work out. So I just kind of picked up the trees and decided to put them all like in the back of where my house is. Because also I was thinking that like I could be surrounded by water in the front and then have a bunch of trees in the back. That was the thought, not the execution. What I would give to just live in the woods. Just surrounded by trees, no other people, trees and wildlife. It would be lovely. I think the thing with waterscaping is that it's so time consuming. Like, I don't know if I'd prefer terraforming or waterscaping because they can both be such a pain. But waterscaping just takes so long. At least it feels like it takes a lot longer than terraforming. Like, I think this took me at least an hour just to carve out this river. And then I just really wanted to take a nap. Like, I didn't even want to finish the build. Okay, so then I had this idea that I was going to, like, not only surround my house with trees, but also surround it by cliffs and kind of have it so there are trees on the top and around my house, make it very, like, deep into a forest kind of situation. And then I absolutely hated it. Like, it's not necessarily that it looked really bad or anything, but it was just like, eh. It just wasn't great for what I was thinking. I always feel like I run out of space. I go too small, and then I want to go even bigger, and then I can't do that. So this whole thing ends up getting torn down later, and then I actually end up elevating my house is what I do. I think if I could put trees here, where I think we should be able to put more trees there, they would fit. It doesn't have to be realistic. Then I would have liked this a lot more, but because I could only put one tree on those cliffs, I just was not a fan of how this looked. So then I go and I grab some flowers, which I still don't know what all of them are called for some reason. I'm not a huge fan of the flowers. They're cool, but I, for some reason, just cannot remember the names of them. And I think it's just because I prefer, like, the fishing and the bug catching over breeding the flowers. But I grabbed some that I like the black flowers. I think they're the lilies of the valleys, and then I know that there are tulips. And then those ones that I want to say are peonies, but I don't think that's right. So this is when I decided I didn't like this. And then I was just going to tear it all down. But also, side note, I love how it looks in Animal Crossing when it's going to rain. Like, it's just so pretty, and I can't quite explain it. But I love it. Everything is like a blue hue, but not in the bad way. I don't know. I just find it to be really pretty. If I could only build when it looks like this, that would be great. But I'm also kind of too lazy to pinpoint exactly when it's going to rain, so I could build in weather like this. I kind of went back and forth between terraforming and the rivers just because I was really bored of water escaping. As I said, it just takes so long that I just need a break from it. But now I went back and I started rounding off some of the corners and pulling out the river in certain places. And I think I plot out where I want the bridges to go. But I tried to make the river look a little bit more natural. I don't think I necessarily accomplished that, but I made an effort. But I put down a little pathing, and that is where I thought I was going to put a bridge. I don't put one there. I do put one at the second one, I think, though. I had this idea that I wanted, I think, 3 bridges for that river. I do love that it told me that there wasn't a river there, though. Like, okay. But I think my goal was to have 3 bridges because of wanting to lay out the museum and then having a shopping district. I think that was my original plan. It has since changed. So I tried to lay out some furniture, and yep, it doesn't stay. I was really trying to figure out exactly what I was going to do with the back areas, which I do figure it out. But it was I was thinking maybe have a sitting area with the log table. But I don't know, I just didn't care much for how it looked, so I went with something else. And here's when I haven't decided exactly what I was going to do with my house yet. Because I was really trying not to elevate it because I didn't feel like climbing a ladder or anything to get to my house every time. So I was just kind of trying to lay things out and get a better idea. So over here I make a little picnic / fishing area. Growing up, I always went fishing. My grandparents live on the river down the street from me, so I swear every kid in my family learned how to string up a fishing pole before we could walk. So I had to include something fishing. Despite the fact that I get too bored with it now. But, good pastime. It can teach patience sometimes. It didn't work for me, but, attempts were made. Here I'm still thinking that I'm just going to have my house surrounded by trees. I still kind of do, though. It just doesn't look like this. So I left that little gap there because I thought I was going to make the river come out from there and then go around to meet up at my farm. Not what happens, but that's why it looks like that for right now. So I went to the little island in the middle and just planted a bunch of bushes. And this all pretty much stays the same because I did like how this turned out and I like that this ends up being more of a pond since I don't have a pond on my island. Just this one, and then the one on my other side with the other villager neighborhood. But I was just trying to really cover it in greenery with the bushes and flowers and the tree. So I believe here is where I decided that I was going to elevate my house. Because I want to say that I ended up taking a break for a day to rethink how I wanted it because I just wasn't liking it. So I'm pretty sure that's what happened. That's why I'm just going around and throwing trees everywhere at this point. Yeah, so I moved my house so that way I could terraform here. And then I just kind of went for it and decided to terraform pretty much the whole area. And just so that way I could actually elevate my house and put trees and make sure that I actually have enough room this time, because I did not want to redo this for a third time. It was a lot of fun doing this build, but it was also just such a headache because it just didn't turn out how I like envisioned it, even though I like it. But when things don't turn out exactly how I envision them, I'm kind of like, I get really frustrated sometimes. Like, I'll still have fun, but I just want things to go smoothly for once. Maybe when I do my shopping district, it won't be too terrible. Or the museum. I've had pretty much the same idea for a museum build. Just not the access points. The access points to the museum have changed in my head, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. Maybe that'll be my next speed build. Here I go ahead and I jump over to this little island. Well, not jump over, I guess, but I go to the little island in the middle and I just kind of make stepping stones. So that way you can actually access the secret beach and the little fishing area just by jumping between the sections of land. And instead of doing a staircase or a ladder, I go ahead and I use the vines. I absolutely love the vines. I think that they were a great addition. Like, I have them on my entrance situation that's completely terraformed, which is like my favorite part of my entire island. I worked really hard on that. But yeah, I like the vines. Then I go ahead and I move my house, which for once I didn't actually lay out where it was going to go. I just kind of eyeballed it and it ended up working out fine. It was a risk, but it was fine. And because I have waterfalls for both of my villager neighborhoods that sit beside where my house is, I go ahead and I add in the same waterscaping there, so that way it matches a little bit. And then I add 2 waterfalls on either side of the vine just to make it look prettier from the front where you'll be accessing my house, if that makes sense. And for both of my neighborhoods, I also have fencing that goes around the area, so I went ahead and I used fencing to go around my area as well, just so that way everything kind of matches a little bit. Plus, I really like the country fence, and I feel like it kind of goes with the vibe that I'm trying to accomplish. I don't know if I'm really getting the vibe down, but a very solid effort is being made here. And then naturally, I'm pretty sure I run out of fencing. And then I literally planted trees everywhere that the game would let me. And I planted some bushes. I really wanted to bring out the greenery. And this is just a custom path that I'm using, and the custom codes that I use in this video will be linked in the description down below. I really like this custom pathing. I don't know why, but I really like it. And I just start placing some furniture, like the swinging bench and the water faucet. It's not a faucet, I don't remember what it's called. An outdoor faucet, maybe? But something for the outdoors to get water. And then some log stools, as well as the workbench. The DIY workbench, the log one, just like the basic one that you get in the beginning, is just so great. It just goes with the cottagecore, forest core vibe that I'm trying to go with, because it's a log and I love that. And at this point, I think y'all should know how much I like log steaks, so I had to include those. I made just a little sitting area. And looking at my map, I realized that I didn't like how some of my river looks, so I went and I fixed that up a little bit. Still haven't placed a bridge there. And I'm not sure why I put water behind the museum. Like, I'm going to move my museum, but I don't know why. I originally put water there. And I'm pretty sure I thought that in doing this, like fixing the river, I'm pretty sure I was thinking that too. So I grabbed some trees so I could put it in the area behind the river, which this was where I realized there was no access to this back piece of land, and that I had accidentally trapped Whitney back here, so poor Whitney. I'm so sorry. I was having a lot of problems making these stepping pieces. And then Whitney's just kind of in the way, but it's fine, it's fine. Whitney is allowed to be in the way. I was like determined to plant a tree here. And I thought that like a cute picnic area would be nice with a little blanket on the ground, surrounded by the trees. I mean, honestly, that's all I want in my life, is just go have a picnic surrounded in the trees. I grabbed the picnic basket over from the fishing area and decided that it should be here, instead of just grabbing two of them. And here I struggled because I think they should just know what we mean when we're trying to make bridges. Just put it there. It's fine. It'll be fine. There are talking animals in this game and a raccoon who takes all of my money. They should just be able to know where I'm putting my bridge and make it work. I thought a gnome would be great to go with a picnic. Can't tell you why, but I kind of like it. So yeah, that was a speed build of my residence building, as well as one of my rivers. It definitely took a long time, but overall I do really like how it turned out. I especially like the picnic area. I think that might be my favorite area from this build. But I love that my residence house really looks like it's in the middle of a forest that happens to be elevated. I think overall it just turned out really nice, even though it wasn't exactly how I had planned it. So yeah, if you guys like this, feel free to like, subscribe, and comment. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!